it really came off quickly. And I learned that the heavier you are, the easier it is to lose the first portion
And
of weight,
percentage. I'd
because
love to
when you're
just let you
cutting
launch right
calories,
into it. Susan, why
obviously it's
don't
going to come
you?
off. Oh, and I went straight into it with exercise and changing my
things that
diet.
you
It
dealt
wasn't one
with,
or the other.
even
I knew I had
psychologically,
to do
that
both.
kind of
So
set you up for.
we had joined our local Parks and Recreation facility,
Mm-hmm.
which is limited to what they have. They're not as big as like you would get at a regular gym,
Right.
but it was more than I had done in the past.
Right.
So we went up there 6 days a week, and when I lost 50 pounds, really in the first 4 months,
Wow.
and I thought, wow, if I can lose 50 pounds in 4 months, I can lose 50 more. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
kind of like was another goal for myself.
Yeah.
And I just kept going, and I kept seeing results, and that's kind of what kept motivating me.
Yeah.
And it was quite expensive having to buy clothes along the line, because every 10 pounds I would lose, I'd be in a different size.
Right.
So,
Right.
um, and I'm fashion conscious, so for me, I had to go buy clothes.
Right. Right. Right.
uh, I did start hitting a plateau after that 100 pounds. I just couldn't lose any more weight, and I maintained that for a few months, and I didn't quite understand how to get past it. And as I was reading magazines, I had subscribed to Prevention Magazine
Mm-hmm.
and different fitness magazines, and reading about changing your exercise routine and even your diet,
Yep.
And so that's what I did. And our new gym in the area opened up, and so we canceled our Parks and Recreation and joined a new facility.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I felt okay doing that at that point, because I had already lost 100 pounds,
Yeah.
and it wasn't as overwhelming to me. But the gym that we belong to now, there's still all different size people there. And so, I've never felt self-conscious about working out at the gym.
That's good.
But just going there and having the new equipment and other people to talk to,
Yeah.
and getting ideas from other people, I was able to change my exercise routines around, and my diet as well. And I was able to lose the other 40 pounds, but it took a whole nother year to do that,
Yeah.
because I had already lost the 100, and then it got harder and harder to lose it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is typical.
And
But,
I was,
you
and again,
mentioned.
I'm at a plateau now, and I can't lose
shocking to me
anymore,
when
so I've got
Yeah.
to switch some stuff around too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the. You've got the momentum though, and then that's the good thing. I mean, you believe in yourself, which is so
Yeah.
much different than where you were before, where you didn't even try. So, you can do it. You just need to find the solution to it. And that's a lot better place. It's a beautiful place to be than where you were, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Feeling as a person. So, but you also said that you also started incorporating even more strength training, resistance training, weight training,
Yes.
to get over that plateau. That was important to you.
Right. I had done a lot of cardio before,
Mm-hmm.
as I was losing that first 100 pounds. And I did some weightlifting, but just what I picked up and did on my own. It wasn't anything I had learned from anybody. It was just doing it on my own. So when I was able to get into that gym and really learn how to strength train and get on routines,
Yeah.
and also kicking your heart rate up and down, doing that kind of interval training too. And I worked with bands and the balls, the big Bosu balls, and all of that kind of stuff, and was able to, I learned so much more there,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then there's the exercises that you can tear out of the magazines that they provide you, just changing that up.
Yeah.
There's videos. We had got that PX90.
Yeah.
My son is very active too, and he's very good at that stuff.
Yeah.
I started doing just a few of those videos, and just changing that, helped me. So
Well, in those, he talks about muscle confusion, changing things up, and same with the dieting, and it's the same premise you're talking about. So
right.
it's important because your body's actually smart, and it finds that equilibrium, and will only push so far. So that's cool that you recognize that, and then have been just continuing to work at it and try new things. It's it's very cool that that's where you're at and you're seeing the results. So
Yeah.
on the flip side, Going back to before you lost the weight, what would you say were maybe some of your biggest fears that you had?
Um, I think not being around
Yeah,
for, to see my
family.
kids grow up. Obviously I knew the health reasons why you shouldn't be overweight. I worked at a doctor's office and saw overweight people all the time come through the door. And
Right.
diabetes, I feared getting that. I feared, luckily for me, I didn't have health issues,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I mean, most people do that weigh 300 pounds have something.
Yeah.
I didn't have high cholesterol. I didn't have high blood pressure. I really did. I was lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Did fear developing something, and also the fear of not being able to get a hold of my weight once I hit the age of 40, because I always heard, the older you get, the harder it is. If you're going to do it, you better do it now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that was also, something that stuck in my head.
Yeah.
So
They say that, and I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think people just start to believe that, and that becomes
yeah,
their reality. Because Cameron works with my father, and he's lost over 100 pounds at 63 years old,
yes,
and has had it come over the last 2 years as well. And the studies that they do at different universities have also proven that people in their 60s and 70s are able to develop the same musculature as 20 and 30-year-olds. So it's actually, as long as the diet's right, you have to ease your way into it. It is harder from that standpoint. You can't just step in like a 30-year-old and hit it hard, but
right,
it actually, I think that's more of a myth than truth to some extent. I'm sure there's some things that people could argue about it, but still, though, that's a belief that a lot of people use, that once they get to 40, they just accept life as it is. And I was just talking to another woman who's thinking the same thing, and that was her fear. She's 37, and I don't want to get to 40 and not have it off. So, but at
yeah,
the same time, that's another fear of projecting into the future, and making it bigger than it is, when you realize all you really have control over is this present moment, and you can go to the gym today or not eat that or eat that. That's the only
hmm,
decision that's really in front of you at the moment, and that's the crucial one to make. And then once you start to get that momentum and it becomes habit, like you said in your email, you got into the area of really having the routine of exercising and all that stuff, and when you didn't, you felt guilty.
yeah.
You know?
Because I think it wasn't that I became, like, how you're obsessed with food or it's
Yeah.
an addiction.
Yeah.
I don't think that I was addicted to exercise, but I think I knew what it did for me
Sure.
mentally,
Sure.
and I just felt better when I did it.
Yeah.
And so I did have a guilt when I didn't go, or if I had talked myself out of it or got too busy doing something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I did have to let some stuff go at home,
Yeah.
like cleaning the house as often as I did and
Yeah.
that kind of thing, to be able to take the time to go to the gym, because now it's, for me, it's part of my day.
Yeah.
And if I don't go, I do feel, to this day, I just feel terrible when
Yeah.
I don't go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That took some conditioning too, because I think I would say the majority of the women that I work with, and I work with more women than men, but they all pretty much say that just the way that they're wired, and thank God, because no man or woman would be here if it weren't for loving, nurturing mothers. But putting your needs ahead of your own for the sake of your children and for the sake of everyone. Women are just wired to always be thinking about someone else besides themselves, thinking that they're being selfless, when in the longer term, like my mom, always putting her needs, her needs, our needs in front of her own, and now she's not here. I wish she would have taken more time for herself, and it's
yeah,
nice that you recognize that. But a lot of times women tend to think of themselves as, even a martyr, in putting everyone else's needs ahead of their own, to feel significant and feel of worth, to feel that love coming from their family, and actually, it's like shooting you in the foot. So
right.
I'm glad that you kind of recognize that.
I've come to terms with it because, at first it was I did feel selfish.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to take this time and go to the gym.
Yeah.
And I did feel selfish because there's some evenings, if I have to work in the morning and I don't get to go to the gym until the evening,
Yeah.
which is a lot harder for me. I would much rather go in the morning.
Good for
But
you.
there's
Yep.
days that I can't.
Yep.
And on those days, I don't cook dinner for everybody.
Right. Right.
And so I sometimes struggle with the guilt of that, but
Yeah.
we're getting to a point now, their boys are teenagers, and so they're kind of on their own schedules
Yeah,
and
they don't care, right?
in and out. They don't care whether there's dinner on the table or not.
Yeah.
So I kind of prepare stuff ahead of time. I cook chicken breast ahead of time. They can, kind of fend for themselves.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's another thing that helped me is preparing food in advance, like the chicken.
Absolutely, right.
And putting it in my own individual serving so I can just grab it and go. It makes it a lot easier to do it that way.
Yeah, it just takes a lot of, not a lot, but it takes more preparation, right? And
yeah, but not as much as you would think. I mean, if you just make the time, say on Sunday, to say I'm going to cook 10 chicken breasts and just do it, it really doesn't take that long. And then I put them in individual servings, and everybody in the household now, goes to that and just grabs what they need. So
yeah, they benefit as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just changing habits of the family makeup. That's really cool. That's really cool. Well, I guess that pretty much covers a lot of what I wanted to talk about, and that's so valuable. I think your story is so encouraging because 300 pounds is a lot, and to get to that point where I would imagine you were spending more time thinking about enduring life and even the basic simple things that you may take for granted, going up and down stairs or tying your shoes and all that stuff. You have to think about when you're 300 pounds.
Sure. We took a trip to Colorado just a month ago, and we did all kinds of hiking, and it was a very active vacation, and I would never have decided to do a trip like that before, when I weighed that much. There's no way I could have done it.
Right.
But we went whitewater rafting, and it was great. I mean, I just wouldn't have been able to do that if I weighed 300 pounds. I don't think that I would have enjoyed it at all. And, I just feel much more in shape, and I didn't, even going up the high altitude did not even bother me at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that plays a role cardio-wise, but
I'm sure it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely it does. Yeah.
I didn't have any issues with it. I was kind of surprised.
So cool. And that's just one of the small benefits. It's a big benefit, but yeah, one of the benefits and blessings to your family, to you, because you were able to enjoy it, like you said, experience it, connect with your loved ones rather than really focusing on yourself and thinking like, just another example of something to feel guilty about because you've let your health go or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that women do such a wonderful job at, that they can teach men how to do, is to focus on the present moment and fill up, and not always be focused on the future of getting something done, but really just kind of connecting with the loved ones, because there's, again, all we've got is the moment, and weight loss has so much to do with just the moment, and we let the fear of the future or the guilt of the past, affect the present, so that we're really not living in the present, So it seems like you're just loving life right now, enjoying it, enjoying your family, and enjoying your newfound comfort in your body, kind of taking back life. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So, but thank you so much for being here. Hang on here. I'm not going to hang up on you, but just wanted to thank you again, because it was a really inspiring story, and I look forward to kind of sharing it with my my viewership. So thanks for your time.
Well, good. No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
Talk to you later.